I ain't scared. He said, but if anything happens to me, it's not suicide. You know, I know that he did not commit suicide. There's no way.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear thoughts build up until I can't hear. My mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I got nightmares in my head, I fear the thoughts build up until I can't hear. That my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper.
Hello and welcome to True Crime Rocket Science, the most authentic voice in true crime. 2 additional details have emerged about John Barnett that bolster the notion of a suspicious death and foul play. There are also 2 additional sources that have come forward that it essentially tells us something about A, Barnett's state of mind, and B, the statistics of self-inflicted wounds. Before we get to that, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do. Please note, later today I'll be doing a special live stream on the evocative Skeleton Coast. I was there a few days ago. This is the world's deadliest ship graveyard, over 1,000 ships on that short stretch of coastline. Why is it so deadly? What is going on there? So at 4 p.m. Eastern, I'll be taking you there using footage I shot just days ago. My skin is still burning and tingling from being in that desert environment. So I'll be sharing the footage I shot just days ago, and I'll also tell you how we got into severe difficulty ourselves when we were there. Make sure you vote in the poll. I'll put a link to that particular live stream in the description. If you're enjoying this analysis, please like, share, leave a comment. You can also hit the thanks button, and let's get started. So we're going to look at 2 circumstantial insights and then 2 expressly psychological insights. And so in terms of the circumstantial insights, number 1, Barnett extended his stay at the Holiday Inn until March 8th. Right? He didn't need to do that. If he wasn't planning on living for much longer, he didn't really need to extend his stay. And so that shows a degree of intentionality. CCTV that we know of showed him leaving the hotel on the morning of March 9th. That was a Saturday. Now, this is already profoundly important. Why would he stay overnight only to take his life first thing the next morning? Why not simply do it in the parking lot that night? Or if he extended his stay, why not take his life in the comfort and privacy of his hotel room? Also, wouldn't it make more sense to do something like that at night? The CCTV also presumably shows Barnett dressed for the deposition and coming out of the hotel at a time that would have allowed him to arrive punctually for the deposition. And in the next video, we will talk about the timeline, the time someone heard a pop, the time that the 911 call was made. Curiously, Barnett's driver's license was still in his hotel room, which suggests he meant to return to his room. We also don't know for sure whether all his belongings were in his vehicle or whether some of it was in his room. And I think that also has a bearing on the circumstances, but also the psychology. Number 2, hotel staff say Barnett ate dinner in the hotel's restaurant the night before. He ordered a quesadilla, he drank a Coke, he scrolled on his phone, and, quote, seemed fine. A hotel employee added that he didn't seem upset at all. Number 2, psychological insights. Clearly the above provides superficial insight into Barnett's psychology, but we need to do a lot better than that. We need to go deeper. Who knew him well and knew what was happening? And what do they think about this whole thing? A close family friend who gave her name as Jennifer said that Barnett had actually told her if he ends up dead, it's not suicide. According to ABC News 4, quote, I know John because his mom and my mom are best friends. Over the years, get-togethers, birthdays, celebrations and whatnot, we've all got together and talked. When Jennifer needed help one day, Barnett came by to see her. They talked about his upcoming deposition in Charleston. Jennifer knew Barnett filed an extremely damaging complaint against Boeing. She was aware of this. He said the aerospace giant retaliated against him when he blew the whistle on unsafe practices. And we know that, especially right now, that company is very sensitive to all the very damaging coverage on exactly this. He'd recently retired and moved back to Louisiana to look after his mom. Jennifer added, "I know that he did not commit suicide," Jennifer said. "I don't care what they say, I know that Mitch didn't do that." And Mitch he's sometimes called Swampy, but he also is called Mitch. So this is at least one person who knew Barnett and his family very well, who felt that it would have been out of character if he'd taken his own life. It's also clear Barnett had taken on a duty of care for his mother. Besides Barnett's psychology, we also need to consider the psychology of Boeing. What is their psychology? Well, we know Boeing cut corners. Does what has happened here fit the scenario of cutting corners in order to skip accountability? What do you think? Steve Chancellor, an author on Staged Crime Scenes, reckons the gun only remains in a person's hand 25% of the time. So seldom, in a minority of the time. In 1 out of 4 incidents that may occur. Well, do you know that it's not only that the gun was in his hand, but his finger was still even on the trigger? And so Steve Chancellor says, many times when someone is trying to make it look like a suicide, they make that mistake, and they put the gun in the hand. In this case, Barnett's hand held the gun, and as I say, his finger was still on the trigger. It'll be interesting to see if gunpowder residue is found on his right hand. We know that he was shot in the right temple, and so presumably the gun was in his right hand, and he was right-handed. I'm not going to take it further than that, but in the next analysis, we'll examine the 7-page police report in some detail. Just a reminder again for the live stream at 4 p.m. Eastern, where we'll be talking about this incredible coastline that acts as effectively a serial killer of ships. What is going on there? What makes that coastline so dangerous? Not only off the coast, but on the coast as well. And I'm going to be sharing with you a really exciting story, not only from my personal experience, but also going into the history of that incredible coastline. So look out for that. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys next time.